Cuckoo couture everybody, Coach Rab here, and today I'm going to give you my 2 secret weapons for weight loss. Now these are fairly straightforward. I'm going to talk through them and make sure they're appropriate for you. There are 2 key things that I recommend all clients do. I follow them myself as well, and they're great tools to use, and they can sometimes just be the edge to, if you're at a plateau, for example, addressing these 2 secret weapons can sometimes just get things moving again. So number 1, movement. Okay, movement. Body fat is a store. Okay, think of it like an industrial estate with warehouses, and over a period of time, you've packed those warehouses with stock that you're not using, hence fat, right? And if you went about your daily business and you were bringing in calories, walking around, doing a bit of workout, and calories going out. If calories in versus calories out were the same, then these warehouses would sit dormant with the stores, fat in them, for as long as they need to, because they're there for a rainy day. So what you need to do is you need to create a demand. So your body needs to go to those stores to use them up. We do this usually by creating a calorie deficit through nutrition and the workouts, but overall movement can help too. Now, what you need to consider is that most people do their workout and then they may do some cardio, right? And then they think in their head, workout done, cardio done, box ticked. That might only take up between 1 and 2 hours of their health and wellness. Then there's the rest of the day. Now imagine they just sat down for the rest of the day and did nothing. And in their head they're saying, but I did my workout, did my cardio, that should be getting things moving. And sometimes it's not the case. So by tracking your overall movement, and one of the easiest ways to do that is through steps. If you track your steps either with your phone or watches to do it, then what you can do is what's measured is managed. So you're looking at what your overall movement is over and above what you're doing cardio and workout wise. Then when you're measuring it and you're doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 steps a day, the days when you're not moving enough, right? Because what's measured is managed. Now, it brings in an element of self-coaching, because if you've been looking or sitting on the sofa and doing a few bits and pieces, and you look at your watch or device and you're only at 3,000 steps and you maybe normally do 8 or 9 in a day, suddenly you might be thinking, well, I better get up and I better get moving because I'm clearly behind, right? So it's an element of self-coaching. If you weren't tracking your movement, you'd have no idea of what you were doing. And as we know, if you don't know what your steps are, you won't know what your steps are. It's as simple as that. So overall movement, by increasing it through walking, it's one of the most straightforward ways if you can. Not everyone can walk, I understand that, but movement is the key. Overall movement, it will create a demand on the body, so the body has to go and tap into those stores. So body fat will have been stored up over time. If you do not create the demand here, then your body will just say, well, we want to hang on to that for a rainy day. So you want to tell your body, no. We're using it now, okay? So increase your steps. Now, one thing I would say is that the volume of movement that you need to do to lose weight is not the same for maintenance, right? Because sometimes people embark on a lot of steps, particularly at the turn of the year. They think, right, I'm going to go all guns blazing and do 10, 20,000 steps. And then they feel like they can't maintain it. Remind yourself that what you need to do to burn off the body fat is not the same to maintain it. Because once the fat is gone, right, then you just need to get a level of maintenance, calories in, calories out. But by moving more to get the fat burned off, you will burn it off faster. So movement is the key. So I would say look at what you're doing steps wise and then add on at least 20 to 30%. Now when it comes to your steps, when you're walking, your heart rate will be elevated, but it shouldn't be elevated so high that you're going to be using different energy sources or creating too much stress on the body, okay? So by increasing your steps by 20 or 30% from your average, all of a sudden then you're going to get that much closer to your goal and burning off that excess fat. Clients that I work with all the time, one of the key things we do is we look at their overall movement via steps, and when we start to increase that, along with calorie control diet and workouts, the win. It's as simple as that. Now, almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, I did a lot of cardio to get in shape for a particular photo shoot. Now, cardio has its benefits, don't get me wrong. It gets you there quicker, but not everybody can do cardio. Not everybody feels they have enough time to do cardio. And it does put a bit of a strain on the body. And I got in okay shape. But then 6 months later, I had another photo shoot. I was like, right, I have to get in shape for this one. And I wasn't in a great place health-wise to be doing full-on cardio. And I was like, oh, what will I do? So I just increased my steps. And I got in better shape by doing that. So every single day I increased my steps by a good 30%. And 3 months later, what a difference. I'll show you the pictures there, right? So it really, really does work. In both situations, and they were 6 months apart, diet was the same, training was the same. The only difference is I did cardio for one and steps for the other. So it really, really does work. So do not undervalue steps. Now the other thing, or the last point with that is, you need to kind of redefine where steps take place. They don't always have to be outside. You don't always have to be out walking. Yes, if you're blessed and you live somewhere beautiful like here in Scotland, you can be out and about and walking, and it's lucky me. But you can actually do steps around your home too, right? Your body fat doesn't care if your steps have been done inside or outside, right? It's movement. That's as simple as that. So doing laps around your home, play some music, put podcasts on, whatever you need to do. Remember, it's not forever. It's just to get the body fat down and gone, right? And I've done videos on set point theory before, but fundamentally, if a fat cell remains empty long enough, it'll go dormant and the weight won't come back on. So secret weapon number 1, move more. Secret weapon number 2 is a form of fasting. Now, with any form of fasting, you need to make sure, first of all, that if you're on any sort of medication, you need to get cleared by a doctor first and foremost. Now, the method of fasting that I love, and I do it myself, is also known as time-restricted dieting. So rather than thinking of a fasting window, try and think of it as a feeding window and a fasting window. So what I promote is 12 and 12. 12 hours fasting, 12 hours feeding. Now, there's certain hormones in the body. You've got serotonin and melatonin. Serotonin is abundant in the body early on in the day. Melatonin is abundant in the system later on in the day, but they do have an effect on your digestion of speeding up and slowing down your digestion. So trying to do a 12-hour fast from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is probably about the best way to fit it in. I've had people in the past that say to me, oh, Rab, I do a 12-hour fast. I eat up till 9 p.m. at night and go till 9, 10 a.m. the next morning, and they don't get good results. And that's because melatonin, when it comes into the system, it's designed to get your body to wind down, to go to rest and then sleep later. So it doesn't work. So what you're best doing is looking at a 12-hour fast minimum, okay? And that means sitting down to your last meal about 6 o'clock. It doesn't have to be exact, but as close as you can get. 6 p.m, have your dinner, then nothing but water afterwards, and then fast through and break your fast around 6 a.m. if you can. Okay, you can start getting your nutrition in. Now that particular form of fasting, which is also known as time-restricted dieting, the optimum is 15 and 9. 15-hour fast and 9-hour feeding window. Now that is the optimum based on the research. I personally don't promote that because it's not what I do, and I also find it challenging to maintain constant nutrition, so get all my nutrition in 9 hours every single day moving forwards. I find it's quite a stress to get all my nutrition in, get the protein in, vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff. But if you are somebody that is very, very organised, then the 15 and 9 method, 15-hour fast and 9-hour feeding window, and basically you would start, your last meal would be about 3 or 4 p.m. and you'd fast through to either 6 or 7 a.m. depending on when you started. That would be the optimum way to do it for best results. But again, everything that I promote is 1, things I do myself, but 2, things that you can sustain. And it's easier to sustain 12-hour fasting because it's nice and simple, boom, boom, you've got plenty of time to get all your nutrition in, than it is to do 15. And I'm just basing that on what it's like for myself. The other thing I would also say is I also promote health and happiness. So when I'm working with clients, I usually say, look, get a balance, because never eating in the evening again, it's just not going to be realistic. So what I always say at the start of the week, declare how many days you're going to do with the 12-hour fasting. I always say go for a minimum of 5. But if you've nothing on at the weekends, you might go for 6 12-hour fasts and have a night off. Or if you're busy, you might then have 2 nights off, so you're only going for 5. Or if you're going for it, maybe you've got an event you're getting down and ready for, you might go for the full 7 days, okay? But declare it at the start, and then off you go. You still follow a good nutrition plan, but then you've got a feeding window, okay? Now again, the earlier the start of the fast, the better. There's not too much to gain by extending the fast later into the next day. In a lot of ways, you want to fire up the metabolism the next morning when the sun comes up, when serotonin and other hormones, and you're ready to go and you start getting that nutrition in nice and early. So in a lot of ways, if you want to maximize your results, you want to start your fast earlier the day before and then break it around the same time the next day. But I would recommend 6 till 6 p.m. Have your last meal around 6, give or take. Fast through till 6 in the morning. Secret weapon. So if you install those 2 secret weapons into your routine, and assuming that you can, because remember with fasting, if you take things like medication, might not be for you, or if you've ever had a history of any sort of eating disorders, then fasting might not be for you. Now understand, 12 and 12 hour fasting, you're really only missing out on a potential snack in the evening. But sometimes people get a mental block when it comes to if they've been told you cannot have anything. That can sometimes trigger things. So long as you are emotionally comfortable with that form of fasting, then give it a go. 12 and 12 fasting, increase your movement by at least 20 to 30%. That will absolutely help your weight loss journey.
Take a breath, it's summer, summer.